40 chess. Yeah. 40 chess. 40 chess. Let's get it.
Yo, is that T-Dog?
40 chess. 40 chess. Hey. 40 chess. This a trade show. Patreon where the trades go. Tap in and watch. That's what you came for. Ain't gotta say my name. They know my name, bro.
What's good, man?
We got McNutted in ATM. Always start off the show with a trade from them. You should always make sure that your trade is in. Patreon, why not be a Patreon? Know you wish you could spend every day with them. Tap in and say what you gon' say with them. South Harmon can fill up a stadium. Next time you log in, make sure that you bring a friend. We about to kick off, let the day begin. Go follow the socials. 40 Chess FF is posted. If your trade is an F, you get roasted. Go like and subscribe for the crew. Apple, Spotify, and the YouTube. You know Cooper got the warp too. Let us give you a walkthrough. 40 Chess. This is 40 Chess.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Dynasty Trade Show. So glad you could join us. We are glad you are here today. And if you're here today, why not join the Patreon? Patreon.com/South Harmon. $1 gets you in the door. $5 gets you access where you can drop the trades in here. And like Fizzle says, if they're an F, they're going to get roasted. Again, a big shout out to our sponsors, Ultimate Autographs, Signed Shit, signedsh.it. And if you go to Signed Shit and you sign up and you go and you enter yourself into a mystery box and you don't tag me with what you won, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? You got to show it off, man. I want to see it.
We want to show and tell,
the
man.
Shit out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to be a part of your adventure. You know, we want to be a part of the winnings, the shit winnings, man. So make sure you go check that out.
Plus, I got a lot of stuff back here. I wouldn't mind trading. You know, if you happen to cop an Eagles item that might be high demand.
We're all about trading for sure here, buddy. You know, that's
it's the Dynasty Trade Show.
Speaking of trading, Mike, I know you already put it so eloquently. Make sure you check out patreon.com/South Harmon. Today, Mike, let's get into my deal. So right here, we're looking at a 12-team Superflex PPR. It's a half-point tight end premium, best ball start 13. This is the we got it simply shit here, but this is best known as the OG shit league to me. All right, so Mike, I'm kind of curious your thoughts on this deal here. I'll be honest with you, to start off, just right off the rip, this is a team that I would say is atypical, and this is a deal that I would say ultimately for me is something that probably is a little atypical in best ball too. But I ended up acquiring here Breece Hall and as well as Raheem Mostert, sending to JCap, Drake London, Tajay Spears, and Kendre Miller. Mike, what are your thoughts on the deal as a whole?
So from the average person, running back age still matters to them. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but outside of like 4 guys at him, I really give a shit less. I really could. I'm not boosting somebody up just because they're a second-year running back.
With you on
Kendre
that,
Miller, Tajay Spears, etc. So
when
I saw this go through, I was actually pissed. You know, the rich just keep getting richer in this league for you. But it is what it is. Listen, I want the Breece Hall, Raheem Mostert side all along. Breece Hall over Drake London, that one's pretty easy. Even if you got him equal, that's fine or whatever. But Mostert very well could smash the shit out of whatever Kendre and Tajay Spears do in best ball. Again. I say it again because neither one of them were like super productive for your fantasy teams last year. They're all just kind of hype at this point. And they could just be nothing. So, listen, you got I know it's a 3 for 2, but it's actually just a 2 for 2 if you wanted. Breece Hall in this league with the way the scoring's set up, it's fucking stupid for you. Just what you needed, an elite running back for your already championship squad.
Yeah, I think, Mike, for me, now, on the surface, people will be like, didn't you just say a few weeks ago, buying a running back this time of year is like, you know, hitting on 17? Like, what do we got? Well, just, you already kind of hit it for me on, this is the way I was viewing it, right? Breece Hall is a running back, Mike, but he's one of the few that I'm kind of going to be willing to actually buy if the price is somewhat reasonable this time of year, right? There's a small list of guys. By the way, it didn't really help my cause. Got my last trip back from New York, Mike, got to sit next to Breece Hall's cousin on the plane. He also has a little blog. Go follow that. His name's
Nice.
Juan. So, yeah, I got all into my Breece Hall excitement because of that. But to me, he's over Drake London. And with the team that I built in best ball especially, Mike, if there's a situation where I'm going to be buying a bunch of the like goon squad running backs, it's going to be in best ball where I can let them all play. I can hope they all stay healthy. And this was the situation for me. Raheem Mostert versus Kendra and Tajay. Like I kind of knew I'm losing on market here, but kind of like fuck the market in a way. Like you already kind of hit it. Like, all right, I'll take Raheem Mostert on. Raheem Mostert to me, Mike, there's a very decent chance that he outscores the best ball scoring of those two running backs still, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, that's the reality that I'm betting on while making this 3 for 2. So Drake London, I think, is a guy that I really like, but I don't think he has quite the week winning upside that Breece does every week. And then Raheem Mostert again versus those two. With the team like that I've assembled here, that's kind of the thought in my mind on it.
Just so people are aware, Adam for Drake London, there's a realistic case you could have said Drake London is Adam's wide receiver 8. And I'm not being fucking facetious.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I'm not being fucking facetious. And now Adam adds Breece Hall to the running back room that already included Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. So he just adds all the fucking infinity stones to this. Your team is stupid. I fucking hate you with a passion.
Yeah, Mike, this league, I got close to having all the affinity stones and draft picks. It's hard once you get rid of those to ever get them in any capacity again. But I figured, why not try it out with the running backs? You know, everyone's bucking the trend. Let me see if I can get into this mix.
Listen, while you're at it, why don't you just come to me and we'll make a deal. You can have Justin Jefferson.
There we go. There we go.
Add Jay Jettis to this fucking squad.
I got CD and Tyreek on this squad too, so Justin Jefferson wouldn't look bad in that shit uniform of Raptor 1523. This is the one team, Mike, that I have that, like, I've kind of did everything as good as well as I could on execution. Plus, I've gotten lucky with a lot of things too. So, this is one of those deals where I would say in a normal best ball situation, Mike, would you make this on most teams? That's kind of what I want to have for the people that aren't really with a goon
like
squad.
an average one.
Yeah.
Take you out of it. Take J-Cap out of it. I think if I was a contender, I think you could make it. I think if I'm a rebuilder.
You like that side, though?
If I'm a rebuilder, though, like I'm not investing in Kendra and Tajay. I just, no. Like,
Would you do it, though, with a 4D play in mind, kind of like hoping to off these guys now?
Maybe. You got to know your league market, though, and see if they value them. And a lot of casual leagues do. No offense to them, but a lot of them still think because Kendra's a second-year guy, all of a sudden he's in line for a massive breakout.
Well, part of the reason I asked that is because
maybe not.
Yeah, I think it's a fair conversation, but I think that specific conversation is relevant to this league and some in general where, Mike, because I pick hoarded and then moved them all over the place, now, like, future picks are not as necessarily easy to acquire en masse. So if you weren't able to get like liquid from my team, but this is an offer you want to go, from Breece to Drake, you're now hoping to flip out of Tajay and Kendre for receivers. I think would be the play that I'm doing. I think Tajay is going to have a role. I just don't think with the money they just committed to Pollard that his is going to be a significantly meaningful fantasy role, right? And then Kendre, I mean, unless you think Kamara's going to die, which for the record, he isn't looking like he's dying anytime soon. So I'm with you on that.
Even if Kendra got, the rushing workload, for example, and took over 60% of it.
There you go.
He's not getting the passing work from Alvin Kamara until Alvin Kamara's not playing football no more.
I think that's a very well put statement. So let me ask you this then, Mike. If those are 2 seconds and 25, we having a way different conversation?
Way different conversation.
So then that's, I think, the play, though. And if you're watching this, right, if you could flip these guys and you have a league market where you can flip those guys for future seconds, I think that'd be something we'd be much more into.
1,000%. I'm with you on that one.
All right, buddy.
But fuck you, by the way.
Thank you. I know that you mean that with sincerity, which means I'm happy about it. All right, 12-team Superflex PPR, half tight and premium, lineup start 11. This one here, Mike, is Hollywood Gridiron. All right, G-Dog is getting Kittle and Keaton Mitchell, and he is sending away the 205, the 25 third, and 26 third. Mike, I'm curious your thoughts on this one, actually. I've got some strong opinions, but I'm curious where you're at first.
am I crazy to say that I'd rather have the picks?
I don't think anything is crazy with this trade. For the record,
Right.
in lineup, one thing I wanted to say is that like Kittle's one of these guys that because of the value of him, I think he's one of the tight ends that if you can get him at a reasonable enough cost, even in a half tight end premium, like that'd be one I'd be okay with. But at the same time, we've already shown you with Warp in most leagues, you don't even have to have a Kittle. Like it's not a necessary thing. And giving Kittle to you, it's almost like I'm going to say this with Kittle if I have him. Very much like the best ball principles. Like you get him every week that he spikes. If you have Kittle, you have to give him that opportunity in lineup. If you do roster him, you just have to play him every week that he's healthy. You can't, go back and forth. But Mitchell, to me, Mike, is just I think he's the part of the deal here that really makes me like kind of get limp.
For sure.
Like if you told me you
a-
wanted to make that pivot from the 205 to Kittle, like I think that's really reasonable. I just 2/3 or Keaton Mitchell to me is not that fucking close, bro.
It's a guy who just had a massive knee injury too, right? That hyperextension on his knee injury, I know it just resulted in a torn ACL. Like we downplay it, but
It wasn't
Baltimore's
multi-
also
right.
very, but Baltimore's also very shitty at giving us accurate medical reports ever. Like ever,
Damn.
they're like the New England Patriots-esque of just being assholes.
Now
And
I'm
let us
feeling
know.
like I feel like that's also a Mark Andrews thing too. Oh boy.
It could be, but I mean we don't know. Maybe he tore his meniscus too. Maybe he has a real bad meniscus injury to go along with it. Now that adds to the timeline of will he come back? I mean, they brought in Derrick Henry and then they drafted Rasheen Ali, who's like a better version of Keaton Mitchell.
I wanted to
and
say
Justice Hill.
There you go.
I mean,
The
like,
Ali,
they
the Ali draft pick to me, Mike, plus his injury is where I struggle with this. If they didn't draft Ali at all, and you're like, it's Derrick Henry, but then when Keaton Mitchell's there, the reason I wanted to say that part, and I think you kind of led me to where I'm going with this, Mike. If you told me you wanted to make that speculative purchase for 2/3 for Keaton Mitchell with the opportunity when he's healthy, and you kind of are betting that him recovering better than most, I don't love it, but I'm fine with it. But, Mike, when you think about it from this lens, the Rasheen Ali draft pick, plus, do you remember how many times we had to see Keaton Mitchell thrive before they actually started really giving him volume? And even then, it was like, did they give it to him that much? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's too many. Is he going to be back healthy? Is Rasheen Ali going to suck and not get on the field? When he comes back, is he going to be given the workload? There's three pretty giant ifs for me, Mike, to spend that on Keaton Mitchell today. When I know those 2/3, I mean, say what you want, but in season, I can probably buy some spot starts that might be better used than the Keaton Mitchell pick trade right here. Anyway, that's my problem, frankly, more so than the Kittle and the 205.
Yeah, like the Kittle in the 205, I'd probably still prefer the 205, but
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I get it. And part of that's just Kittle finished as tight end 6 last year in Warp, and I don't think anybody projects that to like go up even better, like to
Right.
get even higher.
Right.
Like it feels like that's kind of where he's going to be at. He's going to be somewhere in that 6 to 10 range probably at the end of the day.
Right.
So like the 205 conversation, if you wanted Kittle, if you wanted the 205, I get it. 2/3 for Keaton Mitchell, I'm with you. Is like a single for third for Keaton Mitchell at this point feels gross.
That's
Let
yeah.
alone two of them.
I can't do it, honestly. Mike, I think you bring up like the 205 for Kittle. I prefer the 205. Pretty sure I'm pretty there.
In this class specifically.
Correct, especially knowing who I'm going to get there, Mike. Like there's no scenario in which I'm not getting a Benson or a Brooks or one of the receivers I really like there.
Or a Michael Penix.
Or, well, obviously. I guess, you know what, Mike? Good thing you brought that up. I'm just so solidified because, like, after making that video, I've never seen him really leave the first. But if he does, you're 100% correct. If that's Penix, get the next trade up. Holy crap. Holy shit. Mike, if that was just Penix, forget the thirds, right? Here we go. We got 12-team Superflex, half PPR, lineup start 9. Any given Sunday is the trade here, Mike. What do you think of this one?
Ooh, Dr. B making moves. Double
Yeah.
moves. All right, so let's start at the top.
Okay.
Bryce Young and Garendo for Baker in a second. I mean, that's like a flaccid deal if there ever was a flaccid deal. I prefer
Sure.
Bryce Young to Baker, But you had the second for. I love Isaac Guerrero. Like, I got him on a lot of teams at him, but Jesus Christ, give me a second for him. He's fucking yours. Give me
fair.
25 third for him. He's fucking yours. Say less. You take him.
I'm curious your thoughts here on the Baker to Bryce pivot here.
I would rather have Bryce, but that second is what like makes it like, fuck yeah, I'll tear down for this. I'll go to Baker. Because the outcomes could be the exact same for both players at the end of the year. Really could.
Bryce and Baker. Oh, yeah. I think the thing for me.
I think Baker would be favored to be the better producer after what we saw from Bryce.
He better fucking be. Now, granted, to your point, Bryce, I think he's got to be. Like, I don't see many worlds where Bryce is worse than last year. So I say that with looking at last year. But this year, I expect a bounce back somewhat from Bryce. I just don't know how meaningful it's going to be for fantasy. And I think one of the things that I'm getting ready to do a video after AMA. We're going to do this. We're going to do AMA, then I'm doing a video. Mike, I just – the quarterback age thing I think is becoming one of, in my estimations, the more I'm digging into this, one of the bigger fallacies that I've seen out there. Like, Baker –
for a certain group of them, right?
Yeah, and on Baker in particular, what I mean is, okay, Bryce Young, if we think about ranges of outcomes, right, they're going in almost – they're both going in the 7th in startups. Now, Bryce certainly has more ceiling to capture, and if he plays really, really well this year, he totally bounces back. You're going to want him by a decent little bit in Dynasty. But, like, even if that happens, how much more do we think Bryce Young is really going to score points per game-wise than Baker does? Even if he has, like, a good year, you know?
Yeah, not much
It might not be by much, if any at all.
If any.
And what do I know? I feel much better about the floor of Baker. And we act like Baker's old. I don't understand it. Baker's not old. He just got a contract. Like, it just – the safety versus – so risk-reward, there's not as much probably reward to be had, but the risk is so different between these two players. And then to your point, risk-reward, I mean, I guess I'll lean the reward a little higher for Guerrero, but the risk is, I mean, not even close again. This to me is Dr. B. Harris in de-risking both of these. The second in 25 can be moved for something super, super meaningful. I mean, it just this is a great trade, in my opinion, for Dr. B. Harris.
Which he did in the second part.
So let's play 4D now, Mike. Let's do this. All right, let's go down and let's play 4D chess. So now he gets. Oh wow,
Puka
interesting.
for
The alpha dog is sending.
Second he got.
So now he's moving off of the uncertainty of what's actually going to be captured from Drake London. Adds that second that he got in that deal, as well as his own now, right, in 25.
Yep.
To get, let's just call it what it is. The certainty for Puka isn't there, but one thing I do know is the fucking ceiling that Puka just showed us is stupid.
Yes.
I think he ends up now, Mike, with, if you just think about this trade, okay, and what he did 4D-wise, he traded essentially Isaac Guerrero, Bryce Young, and his own second, and Drake London for Baker and Puka Nacua.
Yep.
Well played.
Bravo, Dr.
When your
B.
league mates are playing chess, play 4D chess, man. That's what it's all about right there.
Lineup start 9-2. Need hammers. Need those hammers. And I think just about anybody would say, like, certainty-wise, I think Drake London could possibly do what, like, Puka did.
I definitely think he can, but I think that's closer to the high-end range of outcomes.
Correct.
Correct. I just look all around at this trade, and it's like he's getting – I think what's happening in the entirety of these two moves, Mike, is he's getting 95% of the high-end range of outcomes, but totally getting off of a ton of risk. Like,
for sure.
What Bryce Young happens if he doesn't do anything? What if Guerrero does not get on the field hardly at all? What if CMC's still him? Which I think a lot of us would not be shocked. And what if Drake London is, again, I'm not going to say a true what if, but we see that the what if that we're all projecting is, wide receiver 20.
Same shit, different day.
Any given Sunday, Dr. B, get off my screen. Well done. We've given you enough. All right. Slenmo. Mike, interesting. Oh, my goodness. What are we doing here? 12-team Superflex PPR, half-tight and premium, lineup start 12. Respect my Dynasty. So it's Calvin Ridley and James Conner. And 3 force in 25. Mike, I'll be honest. I don't normally accumulate force in triplets or more, but here we go.
Every now and then.
Sure. I mean, all right. So now, and you go to JSN. So, what is your thoughts here? I'm actually curious on this one.
Production-wise, both of those guys, Ridley and JSN, could end up very similar. Long-term dynasty outlook, it's going to side with JSN. Right?
Agreed.
I mean, no question about it.
I mean,
you can talk about quarterback age all you want, but wide receiver age is a real fucking thing, and one of those guys is approaching 30. Real fast. James Conner, fine, I guess. Adam, I don't know if all the force, though, if I'm a contender, is like anything for me to get excited about, like doing the youth for contending pieces swap. Like that part I don't really, the Connor, the Ridley for JSN, I'm going, okay, can I get a third? Can I get some of your fab? Something like that that's going to help me? The force make it really tough for me to get behind that side of the deal because it's like, what can I really move those for? Like, we don't see a lot of spot start running backs in lineup or spot start quarterbacks in lineup being dealt for force, strictly. Usually the generic asking price is like, this dude's starting this week. Jake Browning's starting for the Bengals. I'll take any third. And then that's the kind of deal that gets made, right? You usually don't see that shit happen for force or insert whatever fucking running back's taking over for the week.
Correct.
So, I don't know. Maybe the market in this league says that force are valuable and, Old Traff here, whatever the fuck that name is, like knows that maybe he can use these force to buy spot starts as a contender. And if that's the case, then okay, it's a fine deal, but I'd probably still just lean the JSN side. If that's not the fucking case, then piss off, man. Piss off. I'm not taking all your force in 2025 to draft class. That's gross.
I kind of view this as now to your point, Mike. I would just say this: I'd rather have them than not have them. Obviously,
yeah.
I do think I'm curious, Mike. Like lineup start. I think I'm in 1 lineup start 12, and I just for those that don't play in it, Mike. I think you're in one as well. But like lineup start 12 is a deep format.
I'm in fucking 2 different leagues: lineup start 12, and lineup start 13.
There you go, and you can speak to this because you're in 2. I'm only in the 1. Mike, I kind of view it as if I have a bunch of force maybe, and let's say you have a couple thirds sprinkled in, like maybe in that type of a format, especially when you get to bye weeks and you just attrition, people might take those to buy. I'm talking gross names though, obviously not high end names, but maybe a guy like Mitchell, you package before the injury, you got a bunch of force or a couple thirds, whatever, like stuff like that. You might be able to do in season with it. I think if I'm making that type of a move to grab these force, that's what I'm hoping to do. But to your point, I think the market really is going to be dictating if they give a shit and if I give a shit about these picks, frankly.
And it's lineup, which is, I know it's deep, kind of like how we view best ball, right? And you want a multitude of guys, but it's still fucking lineup, Adam. And usually what I see those force go for in those kind of leagues is like that Calvin Austin type wide receiver that you're never going to fucking start.
That's what you. The main takeaway here, Ultra FF, if you're actually listening, I know Slenmo is, so Ultra FF, like, don't be the person that spends it on fucking Tutu or, Calvin Austin, something like that, where, okay, I guess you have a body on your bench, but what the hell did you do but nothing, really, right? Like, you're never going to start him confidently. I'm with you there.
It's usually for trash players that you're never going to play. But, like, to your point, Adam, though, if you could package it, you can get like a Keaton Mitchell type from last year when he was starting for a couple games. Sure, by all means. Like, I'm okay with that as a contender there.
Yeah,
I think it's fine there.
Sure,
but I'm just talking from my experience in those deep lineup leagues.
You. Sure, like
having those Calvin Austin types or acquiring that kind of like shit on my team. It's like, what the fuck is this? I'm never gonna start you. Like, I probably have 4 other guys just like you sitting on my bench where I'm like, no. Like, who's the fucking running back who's getting like 60% of the carries this week? Yeah, that guy? Yeah, well, fuck, I'll put him in instead. You have to have that built-in security, and force don't necessarily do that for you. They do get you roster clogger wide receivers, though.
Very fair. I mean, I'm just the way I'm kind of viewing this, Mike, is it feels cheap for JSN, But I guess I'm pulling up Warp right now just to see. The one thing when I'm thinking about this, I think more often than not, unless Warp is going to tell me something here that makes me differ, I'm going to just take the JSN side. And I'd like Connor, honestly, because his price is really getting to fucking
They're cheap.
dirt as hell, right? Like he who knows? Ultra or Slemmo might have viewed this kind of like he is another one of these fours at this point. That's kind of how people are viewing Connor at third, maybe. So I think the pivot to Ridley isn't awful. I just feel like there's so much more risk than reward again with Ridley. Like if Ridley doesn't play well this year, I know he got the contract, but I feel like his dynasty value could take a significant hit.
A dump.
Yeah, there you go. A dump. Well said. This one feels like I'm getting a little too crusty for a lineup league. This is maybe a little more of a deal I'll be willing to make in a best ball league, frankly. I don't know if that's how you feel. I feel like this is a deal I might make in one of these crusty best ball type situations, but I don't think I like it in lineup.
Lineup, not too big of a fan. Best ball, I'm with you. Get crusty if you wanted to. But to your point on Ridley, though, doesn't feel like we're right on the, I'm going to call it the Allen Robinson precipice. The once loved, but like could now just absolutely fade into obscurity, which for you and I this week, too, I had to pull it up. I still have one Allen Robinson share. But thankfully that league is locked on the rosters, so not my fault. Otherwise I would have dropped his ass.
Can I just tell you that I was trying to look it up through Ultra FF. Ultra FF is a absolute degen. If you're not a part of the show, if you're watching this, please join the Patreon. You are one of us.
Yeah.
Mike, I was scrolling so long I was having a hard time finding it. So I'm going through Slenmo's much shorter list of teams, which is, by the way, long as well. It's not a knock on him. It's just that Ultra FF's in fucking, looks like he's in 60-some leagues or something crazy. I'm pulling up the one thing I'm thinking about, though, Mike, if the line in the Warp line for receivers looks like wide receiver 27 and 23 are kind of the same as 10 or 12, like we're really not falling off there much,
flat.
I can kind of see what Ultra FF's trying to do. I think you might still there be giving up a little bit too much market, but I understand the idea, if that makes sense. I just don't. I feel like you're giving up a lot of market here with JSN. Frankly, is my problem.
What if JSN comes out this year and has like a 80-90% of a Chris Olave season in his second year? Right, like
people will be back.
Pushing
People
wide
will be,
receiver too.
People will be
People
back.
will be so fucking back. People will
Back.
be so fucking back.
Way back.
Yeah, back. I mean, to do that, then Tyler Lockett kind of dies off and rides off into the sunset, which is very possible at his advanced stage. But I'm just saying, you always run that risk. Trade for crusties.
I feel like, Mike, the thing about it is, I think I'm willing to take the risk and get the JSN side and try to go ahead and do some crusty stuff later to get a Connor replacement or, try to package these fourths back later in different little, trades I make. By the way, Mike, it is kind of what I said. For the record, wide receiver 12 in Warp across the 5-year data, you're looking at a 1.94, which is pretty strong, right? You get to wide receiver 26, and you're at 1.519. So I guess, for the record, I bet you Calvin Ridley last year was in the, in that very much range. And if you just played him every week while he was super frustrated, and he was kind of like Gabe Davis-y. But if you just did that and lineup start 12, I can understand a little bit more based on the Warp line what's happening here.
Ironic they replaced him with Gabe Davis.
Well, there's same picture, Mike. So for the record, Calvin Ridley was wide receiver 26 last year, which was 1.555. Wide receiver 12 last year, Devontae Adams was 1.931. Not saying that. I guess I'm just saying, if you are really panicked on JSN, I wouldn't do this, but I understand what Ultra FF's trying to accomplish. I just think you got too old and crusty in execution. This is, I guess, the best way I could say it. Slimmo, I want your side.
Early.
Yeah.
Too early in the dynasty cycle.
Factual. All right. What about Mr. Wonderful? Goodness. I mean, we go from that trade. Now we got probably Mr. Wonderful doing some absolutely sick things. Let's see if this actually holds up. Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, and Raheem Mostert. So we got 3 unbeloved running backs that definitely carry value. We got the 206, the 212, and the 25-second, Mike. This league is called Fresh Fish. Interesting. Pretty nice. I love seeing our league, the shit we talk about, get it put in league names.
Yeah.
12-team, 2 quarterback, 2 tight end, PPR. It's a half point per carry, which is a pretty significant part of this in my estimation, as well as a 1.25 tight end premium. So you could honestly leave that part out. A 1.25 tight end premium is fucking irrelevant as shit.
Unless it's a 1.25 bonus to the tight end premium, which we still have to standardize how the fuck we list tight end premium.
Blitz has now, for the record, he may have a miscommunication, but I've told him that this should be that should signify that a tight end is getting 0.25 extra. That's what I want it to be put on the show, but he may have misread from what the trade was put in as. Anyway.
Either way. It's just my little soapbox moment there.
For sure. Let's standardize this shit. and not like standard, like PPR, all right? Forget your standard leagues. Where are you at, Mike?
The points per carry really help.
Huge. Massive in this deal.
I don't know necessarily, though, if I still want to buy in running backs in May.
Okay.
So, I see what Mr. Wonderful's doing, and I think it's fine at him.
Yeah.
But I'm also, I'm curious where Bold Phoenix is at as a roster, because I'm also very okay just liquidating these fucking running backs for draft capital. And especially one of them being a mid-second in this class, which we just talked about on a previous trade. And then the 212, you can pencil that shit in as a running back replacement in Marshawn Lloyd or Jalen Wright in this class. Just lock that fucker right in, because that happens almost in every single league. So
I'd be curious, though, Mike. The only thing I was actually thinking about this for the 212. I'm pulling up Warp because I'm with you. I just wonder, is there a scenario if the 0.25 points per carry is high enough that you actually do miss Lloyd and Wright, which normally are at the turn there?
Yeah.
That's my only question. I actually don't know, obviously, of course. It looks like what we've been submitted. Maybe they haven't even had their rookie draft. But, Mike, this one's a crazy one. Let me just tell you, if you're in this league and you use Warp, this line, Mike, is insane. It is insanity, buddy. Let me see if I can get this up here, actually.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's it's beyond that. It's really nice, I'd say. Let's see if I can get this to come over. I'm gonna have to edit this
Bold
out.
Phoenix is, by the way, just so we have the full context, Bold Phoenix is a terrible fucking team.
Really?
Yeah.
So this looks like an early second?
This looks like he's rebuilding like a motherfucker.
I'm gonna cut this out. This part out in editing real quick, Mike, but just to... Okay, here we go. So, Mike, with this type of a warp line, what are we thinking here?
Yeah, it's reasonable to buy running backs like I started, and I think Najee's a little bit of a discount.
Sure.
But I also understand it from the Bold Phoenix side because his team is so fucking bad.
Right.
You take the running backs. You take all this risk, and I'll just take all these second-round picks. And I'll figure the fucker out on the back end. I would 1,000% do this if I was in issues with what his roster is. I'm starting.
You would
Derek
do this
Carr.
if you were Bold Phoenix, you mean?
Yeah, I'm starting Derek Carr as my QB2, Adam. Setting off the fucking warning bells. We're good. This is terrible. This is not where I want to be. His wide receivers are fine. Trey McBride, Isaiah Likely, but Dawson Knox and Odell Beckham are currently in his flex spots. I'm good, buddy. If Dawson Knox and Odell Beckham are the best I can put in my flex spot right now,
I'm out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm fucking gone.
I'm really curious, Mike. I would love to see if this hasn't had his rookie draft yet, if we could almost circle back. I feel like...
Hasn't had it yet.
It has not. Because here's the thing, Mike. If I, at this spot, miss... at 206 for the record, right? Let's say at that spot, I'm not going to get Benson and Brooks. Okay? So now I'm at that point, Now, if I'm in his shoes, I'd probably almost like to flip that pick on the clock and multiply it out again and get my running backs when I'm ready to contend later. But from the standpoint of when I look at that warp line, Mike, the wide receiver warp line is kind of gross, man. As I'm looking at this, is my only hesitation, where it's all right, if I'm at 206, now if in this scenario again, I'd like to split the asset. But if I took, let's just say, running backs that I'm going to flip, let's say you get there, Marshawn Lloyd or Blake Corum, and let's say at 212, you end up missing out on those guys you mentioned. That's where my hesitation would be. Mr. Wonderful's team is it looking really elite? I don't have the lab up right now. Okay.
Yep, number 1 on the lab in redraft total.
I think the other thing though from Bold Phoenix's side is Granted, it is a 0.25 points per carry. Granted, Warp looks like that. But does the whole league market reflect that? And if not, who the fuck's coming to buy your Mostert, Najee, and Brian Robinson in most leagues? So it's – I'll say this. I totally see what Mr. Wonderful's doing. If these running backs stay healthy, Mike, there's probably a scenario where this is a fucking really well done deal and nice deal for Mr. Wonderful, but he's carrying all the risks now, I think. So this isn't his typical come in and show off, but
No.
I think it makes sense for both sides, actually, if I really think about this one.
I'm looking at some of the other contending teams in this league just to see what they had for draft capital. And there was nobody else who was going to offer me a package that included 3 seconds for 3 running backs.
So Bold Phoenix got the most. He squeezed the most he could out of this juice. I like that.
100%.
Now,
I'm not saying it's a bad deal for Mr. Wonderful. I
don't think it is either.
I'm definitely making the case for the other side because I would do this in a fucking heartbeat myself.
Let me ask you,
I'm a Najee truther.
It's not on the screen, so let me ask you. I think you can see it in the lab. How many starters are we talking about here?
Oh, we'll count them up for you. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, so we're up to 7.
7.
2 tight ends.
9.
9. And 3 flex. Start 12.
Okay. Start 12, I mean, there's a scenario, Mike, with that points per carry and start 12 that I would actually just roll these guys out weekly.
Roll them all.
So I really actually, can I say, Mike, I really like it for both sides. And that's hard to do on the trade show, it feels like. I rarely am like, man, this fucking, I like it for both sides. And I really do. Even though they're buying 3 running backs this time of year. I'm in. Count
Ladies
me in.
and gentlemen, we got one.
Speaking of we got one, Michael McNutted. You thought he wasn't going to make the show? Not so fast, my friends. Mike, this one is intriguing, interesting. Lineup start 11. First and foremost, let's just acknowledge you're getting Puka in this deal, which, I don't think I've seen many trades with you acquiring Puka. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I love seeing that. And the 102, which this class is great. I still love 112, 107 on the other side that you got. So it's, for the record, it's TJ Hawkinson, Sharps, Kendre, 112, and 107. But we already kind of, with my trade, discussed the whole Kendre thing. And Tajay Spears, I think, is better than, and in a better situation than Sharps. But same type of a scenario story, right? TJ Hawkinson, I know, love the talent. Look behind him. You'll see the
love the guy.
The tight end university. But the injury, Mike, is what's scaring us here. And the 112, man, I can't believe you kind of pulled this off, to be frank with you, dude.
Got it.
This is stupid.
Hey, I love it. I love it for me, especially
I do.
Especially if I can get Marvelous Marv.
Did you?
Be against the great. No, the rookie draft hasn't happened yet. But if I can get Marvelous Marv at the 102, Adam. So this is a defending champion. My team. I'm the defending champion.
I should have already seen that there at 112 because I saw there's another name at 107. All right. Well done.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Both of our trades, we got defending champs in the building. Let's go.
Listen, kind of like you will understand this from the shit league, where there's a point where you just have so much depth and you just have so many dudes. I had a tough time figuring out roster cutdowns. Like who's leaving to get under the limit so I can be flexible and move rookies potentially into taxi and move the guys off of IR, when they're not eligible anymore heading into this. I'm like, God damn, this sucks. Like, I hate cutting these fucking guys.
Yeah.
So a lot of this too, right? Hawkinson's not going to do shit for me. Sleeper still hasn't put him as IR eligible yet, so I can't even stash him on the IR.
Oh, you can't?
So
that's actually kind of fucked up, I think.
It's dumb, ain't it?
If you got a guy that, well, I guess probably they haven't ruled him out is part of the reason. But like, if you have a guy that we think is going to be missing week 1, why can't I stash him in the? That's actually an interesting point. Didn't think about that.
It's weird. Me with Sharps and Kendre Miller, they could be fucking dumpsters. They could be something, but they could be dumpsters. But if you're going to pay me for youthful running backs on Hopium, by all means, you take them. So I'm not going to have Hawkinson for the first probably 8 weeks. Even after that, I don't know if I would actually start him because I have Njoku and Dalton Schultz and Tucker Kraft already on this team. At the 107 or 112, I don't know if I was getting somebody I could put in my fucking lineup immediately. Puka, lock him right into the fucking lineup as a starting wide receiver. And then potentially, if this ends up being Marvelous Marv, I may also be able to put him in the lineup. But the team's deep at wide receiver, which I'm I'm really like embracing this. Fuck these running backs and embrace the wide receiver masses and trying to start as many wide receivers as I can every single week, especially in this league, a lineup league.
Yeah.
My running backs are fine. I mean, they're Barkley and Kamara, and then some guys on the bench or whatever. Nick Chubb, like that kind of thing. Zach Moss, Ty Chandler. And then just find some dumpsters, some turds that I can cycle in every single week. But the wide receivers, goddamn, I want all the studs. So Marvin Puka will join Mike Evans and Brandon Ayuk and DK Metcalf and Jalen Waddle, who I've been trying to trade, but nobody wants him, so I guess I'm holding him, and George Pickens.
No, I think in the lineup, start 11, Mike, he's a guy that I'm willing to just, especially if the market's not there, just every single week you're in my lineup, and we're just going to take the booms. I'm curious. The reason I asked what I'm about to ask is, are you certain, or the person that has 101, are they pretty quarterback needy? Like, are you pretty confident that's going to be Caleb?
Yes, because I just traded for Josh Allen off of their team.
Okay.
Like I up-tiered to Josh Allen.
With the 101?
No, not with the 101, but I sent a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
I sent Lamar and some other stuff to go from Lamar to Josh Allen. Like paid the iron price for it. So yes, they have a need at quarterback now.
Got it. Okay.
Dumpster rebuild.
Well, with that, if that's the case, then Mike, this is crazy because I just think about and stick with me on this. All right. In a lineup start 11 where you have what you have as far as a team, right? While you could definitely in those picks just embrace the quarterback, but you first and foremost, your portfolio's got to be heavily exposed to a lot of these quarterbacks that you got to move, right?
Yes.
So instead of having to do that at those spots, which let's just call it what it is, that's what you're doing. If you stay at 107, you're taking JJ or fucking May, whichever one's there, right? And at 112, you're going to take Penix or Bo Nix. Like I can tell you this factually based on what I know.
1,000% what I would have done if I would have stayed there.
And now here's the thing, the reality for me about that, where it's in a lineup start 11, Mike, we start to get to that number of 11 where I really don't. My stones shrivel up a little bit, to be frank with you, buddy, in 11. Like, it's not that I won't quarterback hoard, but I don't really want to as much because I can start, what are we talking, probably 6 receivers and then 2 run. Like, there's a lot of skill players you need to start in the lineup start 11, and then you talk about attrition.
6 wide receivers. Yep.
So now you get to put on your team, instead of doing that, you lose Hawk. We talk about fuck most running backs in general. Definitely fuck those ones. This is stupid. This is fantastic work. And now you're talking about a team realistically, Mike. Puka, you're going to go Puka, Marv, Brandon Ayuk, Waddle. You're going to now have DK, Pickens, Evans. Like Pickens probably week 1 or Metcalf. One of those guys is going to be on your bench. And you can kind of just see what happens. And then ultimately, if you stay healthy enough, you can play around with some of your picks. You have all your picks in 25 to kind of reshuffle things or up tier if you want to in the spots in season. So you're in a great spot with this team.
You know how this deal came about? I got sent.
Jay, watch out. I don't know how.
I got sent an offer. It was 107, 112 in Charbonnet for the 102 and 409. Okay, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh shit, the 102's in play. I don't know if I want to send like 7, 12, and Sharps for just the 102. But right after that trade got sent, I also got sent a keep trade cut screenshot showing that it was a fair deal. You know, slightly lean to my side. And I was like, oh, say less. Keep trade cut, huh? So then I spent the next 10 minutes scouring
Let's play
over
the keep
rosters.
trade cut trade analyzer game. How do I snatch Puka too? There you go.
Let's keep plugging that shit in until I can make it fucking work on keep trade cut for them, and then just send it back. I didn't even send a screenshot of keep trade cut. I just sent it back knowing like, I bet that fucker's getting plugged in right now. And then
hey Jay.
Boom. Couple minutes later, the accept button got hit, and we're done.
Jay, I'm going to give you a word to the wise, all right? When you're sending out, your trade calculators to people, really watch out who you're giving that information to because you got fucking played. That's bad, man. I would have said, Mike, can I tell you the truth? I would have said that was a smash offer for you from the beginning as it was. Now, I understand your hesitation, but, like,
yeah, if
you're telling me that's Marv, dude, I'll send Nix and whichever quarterback's there in the carcass of the upside of whatever Sharps is to get Marv. But to the point you're making, this deal is 3-4 times better than that one. So I love it.
Essentially changed it from the original was adding Hawkinson and Miller, but instead I got Puka back. The Puka part's nice too because I got the wide receiver that I wanted in case I do end up missing out on Marv.
Sure,
Marv's the one.
Right. Yep. 100%.
And then it's like, well, then fuck it. It's Caleb or Jaden Daniels. Guys, kiss my ass.
Let's get a new member feature in here. All right, to finish the show off.
Let's go.
A. Greg Hill, receiving Chris Olave, 108, 25-second, and Jahan Dotson. Mike, sending away, and what you're going to see in my video coming out soon, it may already be out because today's Saturday when you're watching this. Mike, I talked about 3 players that have the ability to break fantasy this year. And I'm telling you, the person that's being sent away is that guy in CeeDee Lamb. So,
or as Fizzle calls him, the GOAT.
Yeah, I also acknowledged at the end of the rant that maybe Fizzle was right.
GOAT.
Maybe he is the GOAT. And all right, Mike. So this is a tear down, obviously. CeeDee Lamb to Chris Olave, 108, 25-second, and Dotson. Where are you at? By the way, I'm not sure which is the manager that's the new patron, Jay Thibodeau. But this is a full PPR lineup start 10 league.
I'm probably leaning the CeeDee Lamb side here.
I'm not even leaning it. Not even leaning it. This is just
okay, I'm smashing the CeeDee Lamb side here.
Yeah,
lineup start 10 is what the defining point is. If this was best ball, start whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit. Insert your number.
Best ball start 10. Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
Sure. The 108. I get maybe a quarterback there. I get Brian Thomas Jr., Jonathan Brooks, whatever the fuck it is. 2 more wide receivers, one of them being Olave, who a lot of people got him as a top 10 dynasty wide receiver, which there'll be a video coming out, me talking about that. And a second, okay, I'll come off of CeeDee Lamb for these 4 fucking pieces. These are all pretty good. I can make this work. Best ball works. Lineup start 10, not so much. And then I look at the warp for the league, Adam. CeeDee Lamb, number 2 overall fucking player in this league. A 2.736 warp. Adam, that's like elite of the elite quarterback numbers, in the heyday of quarterbacks, throwing 35 fucking touchdowns, damn near 5,000 yards, and running for 400 yards. That's the type of quarterback numbers you'd see in warp. And CeeDee Lamb's doing this in this exact league. So CeeDee Lamb for me.
Mike, now, I'll tell you this, actually, even in best ball here, while I agree 100% with the idea there, I probably, even in a best ball league, would counter back and be a little more selective. I'd rather a different piece than Dotson or, the second be a little higher up. If you had a second in this class maybe or something like that. Not saying that it doesn't, I'm not with you in general. I would be willing to basically split CeeDee Lamb into 4 parts in best ball for sure. But Mike, this is a guy that, for the record, for those that don't, if you didn't watch that video and you're here, I'll give you a little synopsis of it. CeeDee Lamb is one of 3 players, Mike, last year in standard PPR scoring to score over 400 points for the season at the wide receiver position. So, most people don't realize he was one of the 3 best finishes we've ever seen at receiver. That's 1. 2, Mike, when we look at the splits in week starting at the bye versus the before the bye, and we expect this team to play like they did more recently last year. Mike, this guy could actually get to the 500 point mark, which when you talk about warp, I can't give you a warp number, but I can tell you it's going to be so stupid that he could actually break your league. So definitely not in lineup start 10 for this. No, I would say to be honest with you, in lineup start 10, Mike, I would need you to give me a receiver. The down tier, I'm not going past A.J. Brown. To be honest with you, I'm just not doing that. Unless I'm in a full nuclear rebuild and I'm breaking my team up into, give me 4 first, 3 first, something like that. If I'm doing a true down tier though, A.J. Brown, Puka, maybe Garrett Wilson, or you got to stay north of that, or I'm cool.
So if I told you that the 108 in 2024, which this is highly unlikely to happen too, but the 108, whatever the fuck that player is, even matched the warp of what Chris Olave did.
Yeah.
You still need Jahan Dotson in the second, and it still doesn't make me want to do the trade. And that's painting the rosiest scenario that just for reference, what I'm talking about is CeeDee Lamb more than doubled up the warp of Chris Olave, who was wide receiver 19 in this league. Doubled him up.
No.
More than doubled him up.
He's probably, Mike, I would need A.J. Brown in 108. And honestly, I don't think I'm taking Dotson. Like, I'm totally changing this deal, frankly, if I'm tearing down. I'm taking Chris Olave out. You got to give me someone higher than that. 108 still got to come my way, and I'm probably getting rid of the second and Dotson and asking for more of a legitimate piece that isn't broken out into two different parts and lineup start 10. And then I'll have a conversation with you. Outside of that, you can kiss my ass, and I'm riding with Fizzle to the moon, man.
CD go.
I was just on Fizzle Friday yesterday with the guy, and now, unfortunately, Mike, I've converted. I'm into the CD wide receiver one tier. Yeah, so anyway, I thought we had a really good discussion on trades there. The last one, I really hope the new member that you were acquiring CD there, because you're in the right spot, I guess, if you didn't.
You are.
We'll help you fix it.
I like it. And my deal got in there, got snuck in the middle. That was two. Like, I was all disappointed. I'm like, man, this fucking Puka 102 deal's not gonna. Oh, Blitz, you saved it.
No, we're good, baby. You just didn't go me and then you. We just, we let the anticipation build. By the way, Mike, that trade you made was fucking stupid. That trade was stupid. I got to start off the show by cussing at you for stacking a team in a league that I'm in with you. Listen, that was so bad that it's so stacked for you, and I was your number one competitor too. Number one, right? Yeah. We met in the finals. I put up a valiant effort, but there was no fucking shot. Like, honestly, it was less of you not putting up a valiant effort as my team just went absolutely stupid that week, for sure.
Dude, you were Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and I was that little scrawny white guy. Like, there was an opportunity, but I had to juke and jive just fucking right. It wasn't happening. So it was so bad that when we filled the orphans for it, I just threw my full fucking contending team that was in the finals last year versus that into the fucking dispersal. And was like, I just start over. Fuck it.
You know what's interesting? Good. I kind of
waved the white flag. I'm done.
I remember that, but then I had forgotten about it because when I looked at the lab recently, I'm like, damn, why is Mike's team so low? Now that makes so much more sense. Okay.
How the fuck did Mike get Justin Jefferson in the OG shit league when he did nothing but shit on wide receivers for years?
Right, because we drafted this league, for the record, when we first started making content before we even did like a bigger podcast, right? This was in 2021.
First year best ball was offered on Sleeper.
Right.
OG.
But I think honestly, Mike, you probably made the right decision in just getting, Jefferson, starting to build for the future and just saying, all right, like, we'll let someone else contend with me, and I'll figure out how to beat him later. Smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
can down the road.
There's both those trades, I think, give you ideas too. If you're in the driver's seat, like if you have a team that you basically got the league, I wouldn't call it on lock, but you're in a strong position to be the best team in the league. You kind of have the league at your will. Don't do
what you want.
Don't kind of. I think what I've seen a lot of times is because that they're in that situation. I've seen people kind of bleed away value unnecessarily. Like, you are in the driver's seat. Let the deals come to you your way, or just tell them to piss off when you're in that type of position. That's how you stay on top.
Yeah. And you did it by sending away second-year running backs.
And Drake, I'll be honest, I didn't love sending away Drake London, but I liked a lot better getting back Breece, so I'm cool. I'll find a way to get rid of my wide receiver 7 or 8. But if you do want your deals featured on the show, you want to come flex, like Mike, myself, or I hope, again, the new member on our squad, patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 a month gets you in the tier where you can put it into the Completed Trades channel. Make sure you go check out signedshit.sh.it. Get you some ultimate autographs. We'll see you back here, same time, same place, talking more Dynasty Trades. We're out of this thing. Peace.